Alright, if you haven't seen by now, Red Dead episodes are back on YouTube as of next week. And I figured what better way to announce that and sort of give people a bit of a lead in than to finally ask all the questions about this thing. People have been hassling me for like 2 years about doing a full walkthrough. I have no idea why, but today is their lucky day. If you want to see just a quick little rundown on this rig, don't watch this video, you're going to be bored to death. This is probably going to be a good 17-hour long video. All the nuts and bolts, all the nitty gritty. Let's get stuck into it. Okay, first things first, most people notice that this is not the size of a normal Ranger. It's longer. Here, basically everything there doesn't exist on a normal one. And the reason being, very first step with this, took it to ultimate stretches. There is an additional 300 mil of chassis cut into it. I'll show you, that's all the rails. You're not going to be able to see where, because frankly the guys there did a better job welding it than the factory did, so you can't pick it. The only thing you can pick is that it is a lot larger. That whole section there is all new. It is running an extended tail shaft. Where is it? It's in there somewhere. That's the muffler. It's not ideal. Go around the other side. It is running an extended tail shaft, which I'm not sure if you can see in there or not, but basically that's all there is into it. It's a longer frame and a longer drive shaft. You extended all the brake lines and that kind of thing. It is hands down one of my favorite modifications. If I was to sell this tomorrow and buy another dual cab, straight to Brad, cut it in half, stretch it. It makes it so much more stable on and off the road. Ledges that, you know, normally you get bound out by the wheelbase, this thing's just got that little bit more, so I'm not climbing up two ledges at once. It drives so much more capable with that. So there's a link below down to his website, and let's move on. All right, next, suspension. Come around this side. Up front is, oh Jesus, I picked the ugly side here. I'll go to the other one. Up front is DriveTech Enduro Pro struts. So the remote reservoir is just mounted up there. That carries extra oil capacity basically. So it means that in corrugations and that kind of thing, it's going to go longer before you start suffering from shock fade. Essentially, it just makes it better for big heavy rigs that do lots of touring. So remote res, always a win. They're wound all the way down too, and it's because I've got a 2-inch Superior Engineering body lift in this for all up 3-inch lift. That means the CV angles are super flat, which is good stuff. DriveTech 4x4 upper control arms as well. These are, I'm going to say, one of the best on the market. I've run fancy ones before, and this is what they did. This is damage from what people say is one of the best arms out there. Yeah, not good. DriveTech arms don't do that, so that's why I run them. What else? So that's the whole front end. In the rear end, rear's a little bit different. So don't mind the shadow. Couple of things you notice, it's just normal leaf springs, so 300 kilo leaf springs. I've got a sway bar in it, so it's a DriveTech part. It's all white line gear. It just counteracts the body roll that you get from a big rig like this. And the other thing is Airbag Man setup. Let me get in a little bit closer. So it's got helper bags on both sides. That allows me to run a lower spring rate spring, and it means I can sort of fine tune it. If the rig's really heavy, I can put air in and up the spring rate. If it's not at the time, I can drop it down and get a more comfortable ride. It's a full onboard air setup from Airbag Man, so stainless tanks mounted underneath here. Compressor is here, and moving out the back, that is connected to the air tank, so I can pump tires up, that kind of thing. And these are direct lines to the bags, so if anything fails in there, I can still control them manually, which is really good. Standard fuel tank. I think that's about it. Next. All right, up next, wheels and tires. These are 35-inch Toyo Tire AT2 Extremes. They're an aggressive all-terrain pattern. So they're on the carcass of a mud tire. So everything in there is as strong as a mud tire. It's just got a less aggressive pattern on it. They're not going to perform as well in the mud and in the rocks as a mud tire will. But for something like this that does everything, like I've done in that last trip, I think I did 16,000 Ks. If I put mud tires on it, they'd just be shredded by now. So that's a really good balance. You can only get, because it's the AT2 Extreme, you can only get that tread pattern in the 35-inch tire though, because they run these for the stadium super trucks, that kind of thing. They are wrapped around 17 by 9-inch KMC Robbie Gordon beadlocks. So these are a genuine beadlock. You can see here the wheel is actually bolting the tire down. It's really good for rock crash as well. Same thing, I've done probably 1,000 Ks on beadlocks, I want to say. I have never had a single issue. I've never had a bolt snap, I've never had a ring come loose. I've got a very specific bedding in process I do whenever I put on a new set of wheels or a new set of tires, and it hasn't failed me once. They are neg 38 though, so normally these are positive 55. These ones are neg 38, so it is a big wide boy. Utmart V80 80 millimeter flares are what cover them up, so you can see exactly how much extra they poke out. So that's heaps of modifications to get them in. So the inner liner is out. This seam here has been tweaked to make a bit more room. It originally was way out here, so that's all been cut out. The guard's been cut, the flare's been cut. You can see that line would have been about here, so that's all been cut. They still rub on that front radiator support. It has been trimmed as well, and the bull bars skirts are gone. Normally there's like a goofy thing here. That all had to go to make room for the tires. What else? That's the chassis, the suspension, the wheels and tires. I suppose it's motor and gearbox time now. How good. Let's go have a look. Alright, under the bonnet, I'm going to do the old same way I write customs. It is a Fat Bars stainless snorkel. I have wrapped aligned it black, done a terrible job, but it is black now. It goes in through the guard to a Psycho airbox. Basically, I got this just for the clear lid so I can see how filthy it is. Down through all the hard pipe kit, so it's got a full Harrop Engineering hard pipe kit into their stage 2 turbo. So it is, I don't know if you can see it down there somewhere. It is basically a standard turbo housing. It's been drilled out, it's got a bigger wheel in it, it just pumps a lot more air. It comes through Harrop Engineering intercooler. You can see how thick that is, up through another pipe kit, and into, yeah, see, Harrop, told you guys, I thought I was lying to you, into the motor. Now, this motor is not a normal Ranger motor. The bottom end, so basically the short block, was all built by a company in Queensland called Engine Australia. They specialize in performance diesel parts. So it's running, everything's been hand balanced. So they built the whole motor there. It's got a different crank in it. It's got billet main caps. It's got an upgraded oil pump, which if you have a Ranger, go and put an upgraded oil pump in. Normally they run like a variable vane type thing that as the pressure ramps up, it'll ramp up and then it'll get to a maximum pressure and it'll drop off. This thing is a straight gear driven one. So Ford's done that just to try and save, you know, a little bit of fuel here and there. Same as the smart alternators and all that kind of nonsense. This one, Engine Australia oil pump, is a straight gear drive one. It just keeps pumping oil. And that means that normally those variable vane ones, they can fail. They get it, bits of shit stuck in them and they stop working properly. This one will not. You will not have oil starvation issues, and that is the biggest killer of Ranger engines. And it stops that 10-minute service nonsense as well. It's in there, it's good to go, it's old school, it works. It's got their pistons, it's got their rods, like I said, it's got their crank and all their main caps as well. Brand new genuine head. It's got reconditioned injectors with plus 30 nozzles on them. What else? I think that's about it on the engine. So the guys at AECO 4x4 in Sydney helped me put all that together. They sourced a lot of the parts. They put the head on the block, they put the whole engine in, got it tuned, up and running, all that kind of stuff. It's moving back. There's a bunch of transmission mods as well. So it's a standard Ranger 6R80 transmission. That's the gearbox that they use in Rangers, Mustangs, F-150s, that kind of thing. It's a really common, solid platform. Mine has a heavy-duty valve body in it from Wholesale Automatics. So it just shifts a bit harder, holds a bit better, that kind of thing. It comes all the way up to, not sure if you can see it there, Wholesale Automatics, a dual row oil cooler from them. So I've bypassed the factory thermostat. It's got a bigger oil cooler on it, keeps temps down. It's also got a Mustang sump on it. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it. Let's have a look. Yeah, you can see a little bit there. The Mustang sump. That holds a lot more capacity. So I think normally these hold about 7 litres of transmission fluid. Don't hold me to that. This one's got about 11. So again, it can go longer between service intervals. It's just got a lot more capacity. It's not going to suffer anywhere near the oil fatigue that a normal one would, and it'll stay cooler as well. What else? I think that's it in the engine bay. It's the transmission, the drive shaft, the diffs. Diffs are standard, just factory rear locker, no locker in the front. Would like to put a locker in the front eventually and re-gear it, but I'm poor, so what can you do? Everything else, yeah, that's it. All right, so I'll shut the bonnet now and start at the front and work our way to the back. All right, at the very front is 4 Baja Design LP9 headlights. So these are, I'm going to say, the best driving lights you can buy. That's about 4,000 bucks worth of lights, and they are just straight up laser beams. GME UHF aerial. I've got the XRS unit in there, which everyone does these days because it's the best, so that's what it is. It is a Rival aluminium bumper. I've color coded these, so that's actually one of the things I really like about the Rival bar. Normally, you can see this big gap here. You need a gap for the bar to flex when you're off-road, that kind of thing. Normally, bars that have this part bolted to this need a huge gap here, and it looks horrible and it causes all sorts of issues. So you can actually see, where is it? That rub mark there is from a previous bull bar I had on it. The Rival bar, the DriveTech bar, these bolt directly to the radiator support. And then the gap itself is just this little strip here. The effect is it looks like it's supposed to be on there. Like, how good is that? So that's it. It's got their 12,000 pound dual speed winch in there, which is cool. Headlights are standard headlights, steady high beams, steady low beams, other way around. Steady high beams, steady low beams, steady parkers, LED up in there. I've got the keys on me. Have a look. Very bright, very bright. Standard grille. This was the chrome grille that came on this when it was a brand new XLT. You can see a little stone chip through there. I keep being tempted to put like a Raptor grille or something like that on, but I just can't bring myself to do it. This thing does the job. I'm pretty rough on gear. Actually, you can see the Rival bar driven that into plenty of things. A load of that. Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to hit an actual cow with it, but I'm not gentle on this thing. Look at the flares. It's fine, they love it. What else? They're wrapped aligned. These are smashed to smithereens and they're wrapped aligned. Actually, I'll show you on the other side. Udna data track did me dirty, but what can you do? That dent there is Cape York. These ones just everywhere. Cab's dented there. Rival roof rack, same thing, aluminium, super lightweight. Try and keep the weight of the truck down because there is just ridiculous amounts of stuff. So the lighter I can get it, the better. It's two-piece rack, so you can see I can run it just as this flat rack, or I can have this top part on as well to have it in a basket. It's really good. It was a pain in the ass to put on, so these bolts go to a bracket. Normally a lot of these flat racks, you just drill through the roof and then you put a rivet basically in and they tear out. This thing, you've got to drill through the roof and then pop the whole roof liner down, and there's a sandwich block that goes up underneath. It's not going anywhere. It would have to rip the roof apart for that rack to come off. So that is ridiculously good. Is there anything else on the outside? I suppose not. Canopy. ZUV. Zone Ultimate Expedition Vehicle. That's what that means, just in case you're ever curious. This whole canopy was one of the very first canopies that Queensland manufacturer Zone RV did. Really good friends with the guy who actually designed it, so this is a bit of a prototype. It is an absolute game changer. I've never had anything this good before in terms of camping. My setups have always been shit and camping's always sucked. This fixes that. I'll go around the saddle boxes first. That just has a what is it, food grade water hose. So it's got an onboard water tank, 100 liters. You can see it just there. So that fills into that just with here. You just put the thing on there, get the dirt out first. It's got a tab too, so that's really good. This saddle box, I've only got a couple of things in there at the moment. This saddle box normally has 3 of these chairs. These are Helinox chairs. That is a full-size camp chair. Takes like 30 seconds to set up. And the saddle box, you can, I think I've had 3 in there and one of their tables. So it's really good, really lightweight. Means when you're going on a camping trip with a bunch of friends, you don't need to fill half your back seat just with camp chairs, because that is the worst. So that fixes that. They just live in there. There's always camp chairs in the truck. It's a really good setup. Around the back, before we get to the next saddle box, this is, so I mentioned before, AECO 4x4 in Sydney did a lot of the work on this. One of the things I always like about that, I'm a real sentimental guy. Steve, the guy who owns it, this is the fuel flap, or the fuel cap, off his old 80s Hilux. So you can see there, little TEQ logo. Exposure's got me dirty. Anyway, that's off like a 1980s Hilux. It's really cool, I enjoy it. This saddle box, it's just all my recovery gear, so just all straps and slings, a couple of tie downs, that kind of thing. This one, okay, the Airbag Man tire inflation kit, all the valves and everything are in there, so the whole setup, car's not on, so it's not going to work at the moment, is with this little key fob. So up, down on the left, up, down on the right. Means I can be up in the tent and, you know, it's on a bit of an angle, I can fix it with that. So that's really good. That's all the setup that controls it. That is the, you know, I'll just pull it out, I'll just open it. I said this was going to be a long video. So just a tire inflation kit. That this just plugs in at that outlet back there and you can pump the tires up. It's a good system, the system works. Alright, hammer up. That is not a one-handed job, and I know a thing or two about one-handed jobs. Oh, that is the air inlet. for the compressor. So it's a remote mounted air kit for the airbag main compressor. That just means that it's not sucking in dirty, shitty air. Got a couple of rags in here. These, if you haven't seen these, so I just finished doing some filming for these guys. This is an easy anchor. So normal shitty tent peg, throw it in the bin. This thing runs into the ground, and that is the tent peg. So these, I've driven these into like near on rock, and they do a great job. These are the ropes that come with them. So this, how am I going to do this? That is how it latches. So you know, your stupid things, that fixes it. What else? Ah, shower. Around the back, that water tank goes to a couple of outlets. Main one is this. This is a hot shower. So yeah, that'll work. The water pump's off at the moment. There's no water in it, so that's about the best I can show you. This is temperature controlled, so cold, hot. It's a full mixer tap setup. You come around here. This is a pop-out awning. So, sorry, not pop-out awning. Lost the plug. Whoa. Down it comes. I guess I forgot to put the straps on. This is a pop-out. Hold on. I'll be back. This is not a one-handed job. It is a pop-out quick pinch. It is a pop-out quick pitch. There's the ensuite thing. Basically, it's a shower tent. That goes there. This goes in here. It's windy as hell, which you can note out here, but I am not going to peg it down because I can't be bothered. So I'll pack that up now, and I will join you. All right, so that's that. Around the back, spare wheel. I am using a Ridge Rider 30 gear bag. Chuck my rubbish in. It's got a zipper on the bottom, so when it's nasty, you unzip that. It's actually a really good height. You can put a wheelie bin under it and just dump it straight into there. I have used other ones before, and they failed immediately. The Ridge Rider one, generally I'm kind of iffy about their stuff, but that is genuinely a good thing. Diesel tank, I will explain that later, and a ladder up into the built-in rooftop tent. Now most people don't even know that's there because down it sits like here. It's really good, so let's go and have a look. Ooh-wee. Not bad. Alright, up in the rooftop tent, it is quite small. Sometimes it's not ideal, but in general I like it because it is very, very warm in here, and that was my main concern. Just, you know, if it's hot, it's all good. I can open the fly screen, I can open the windows up. I've got 12-volt outlets up here, so I can plug a fan in if I need to, but if it's cold, it's very, very hard to warm up sometimes. So power outlets there, power outlets there. There's light switch here because there is I didn't turn the lights on. Oh, I have to live with it. That is a LED strip light, and that is an LED strip light as well. There is a grill down here. That is for the diesel heater. Yes, diesel heater. Oh, and it's got an inflatable mattress in it, self-inflating mattress. Just a lot easier, packs up better, it's a bit more comfortable. I'm a big fan of them. Let's have a look inside. Okay, back on the outside. The whole canopy itself is made out of a thing called composite. So basically it's a thin layer of fiberglass, then it's a foam insulation panel, and then another layer of fiberglass. It's why it's so light. The only thing different is these doors. They are composite, which means the whole canopy is insulated, but they're aluminium, so they can take... Alright, as you can see on this side, it is still full of my shit from the last trip, so I'll get back to that. Doors, aluminium skinned on the inside too, so you can see it can take a dent. All LED strip lighting again, which is really good. It's wired up to the central locking of the truck too, so you lock the truck, canopy locks, unlock it. Yeah, it's good. It means you're not fumbling around for weird keys. Inside, it's more of this Raptor liner, so the whole thing is really, really strong. It's got tie down rails inside. Oh man, no, because I don't have one somewhere. No? Alright. It's got tie-down rails that you can put little latches in here. These are spaced apart perfectly to fit a space case in. So this is normally full of tools and spare parts and that kind of thing. Jerry cans, if I'm carrying jerry cans, they stand up in here. Obviously it's just an absolute schmozzle in here right now, all oil and that kind of thing. Normally have a milk crate, because you never know when you're going to sit on one. Fire extinguisher, random cans, a bit of extra water if I need to. This is an Eberspacher hot water system. So it's basically, it makes hot water, runs off diesel. That's what the diesel tank is for out there. It runs the shower, it runs the kitchen on the other side. The other thing it runs is that. That is a tent heater. So the tent is heated with a diesel heater. That's what the muffler's for. It's hilarious. It soots. It's what I put that in because I like doing a lot of snow camping, and there is nothing worse than not being able to sleep because it is so cold. So that's what that is in there for. Over the other side you can get a sneak peek at some of the anodrive stuff. It's kind of behind the curtain though, so I'll take you around there and you can see that. This side is the pretty side, so I'll step back for a minute. Full kitchen. So like I said before, full anodrive setup. It's got a 200 amp hour lithium battery setup in it. I've just got a janky lithium charger hooked up to it. Got a Cymarine. Let me see if I can access that. This thing controls everything, so you can go through, you can see what all your battery levels are, your water tank, all that kind of stuff. So I can see at the moment I've got 98 litres in there. All your switches for everything, your water pump, onboard air, lights for the tent. I shall leave that on, and a huge 2000 watt inverter. That's really important for all of our camera gear. So there's power point there, there's power points here, power points over there, and the power point on the other side I showed you. So we've never short of power. What else? Dual fridges, Evercool 40 litre fridge slide drawer thing. Evercool 40 litre fridge slide drawer. These are really good because you just do that and then you have beer. Top one, easy. I mainly use this one as a freezer. It's a little bit harder to access than the bottom one, so it's good for, you know, putting all your meats and that kind of thing, the stuff you don't need to access quick. Beers and drinks in this one, always. They are lighter than a fridge and a fridge slide. They are quicker to access than a fridge and a fridge slide, and they're more space efficient. So normally with a fridge and a fridge slide, you've got, you know, a couple of inches either side you lose for the slide. It's got to go back a couple of inches because you've got the big goofy handle. And it means that if you want to drink, you've got to come, you've got to open the door, you've got to come out, unlock the thing, get the handle. It's a shit fight. This, open the door, drinks. Lots of stickers on there because I am sentimental. So just cool places we've been, you know, people I know, bike parts, big Harley fan, absolute champion, just that kind of stuff. Over here, kitchen. Hot and cold running water to this, same as before. It is a mixer, so that's all you got to do. The diesel control is that turns it on. Shall turn it on, that'd be good for a laugh. Takes about 5 minutes to warm up, so that's hot and cold running water. This can change the mix, so it's a jet or it's a spray. Whole thing comes out if you need to use it out here, and then it just slides back in. Obviously it's a lot easier to do when you're not holding a GoPro. This runs through water traps so it doesn't get dust and that kind of shit back up, and it just drains out the other side. What do we got? Food stuffs, plates, cups, cutlery, all lives in there. This is the kitchen drawer, so it's just full of cereal and long life milk. I've just got backups of things, so if there's ever, you know, if you forget to shop or you're planning on shopping and you break down on the way or something breaks, there's food in here. So there's always wraps, there's coffee, there's cereals, there's chips and that kind of shit in here. There you go. Muesli bars, mosquito nets, stubby coolers. There is confession time. This thing runs a coffee machine. When I say runs a coffee machine, it can run a coffee machine. It is the biggest. It's just one of those pod things, plugs into here. Completely useless, absolute garbage. I'm going to bin it. So I'm pretty much convinced that when you see people running coffee machines, they're just, I don't know, they hate themselves or they're doing it for the gram. They're horrible. They taste horrible. They're a pain in the ass. They're always cold. Not a fan. More strip lights up here. Let me see if I can do this. That is the prep area. So the only thing I don't have is a cooker. I've got a Weber mini Q, normally lives in the other side, and we just bring that around, put it on a stand here or put it on here if I'm short of space. I think that's about it for the outside. Let's go and have a look inside. Oh, hold up. Yeah, look at him go. Look at him go. All right, on the inside. Give me 2 seconds. Get all my keys out of my pocket and that kind of stuff. Phone just lives up there on a quad lock mount. Okay. All right, on the inside, it is recording, yeah. All right, on the inside, this is a PX2 Ranger. So it has the tech pack, it's got the dual screens, that kind of stuff. So you can run through, at the moment I've got it set up like that, you can go through all your fuel economy and lots of stuff like that. It's got all the Apple CarPlay, it's all built in, so it's all standard with that. An ECU shop, I think it's called a Monster Gauge. I've got it set up so I can see engine coolant temperature, RPM, whatever. I don't particularly care about them. These are the two. Manifold absolute pressure tells me how much air is shoved into my inlet manifold at any one time. Basically tells me how hard the turbo is working. So that's that. That was through AECO as well. He did the tune and he did all of this and a lot of the fitting the bigger turbo, that kind of stuff. So AECO 4x4, give him a shout for any of the performance stuff. Runs a GME XRS unit, 370C, so it's remote mounted, magnetic on the back, which is phenomenal. That, you know, normally you gotta try and it's goofy, and this, bam, bam, bam. GME, geniuses with that. That's all Bluetooth too, so let me look at this for a sec while I unlock my phone. It's all linked up to this, so I can control everything with it. I can go through all my settings. Using the location services, I can see where my friends are in a convoy, so I can have a look and this will pop up and say, you know, perspective 101, 6Ks east, and I know exactly where he is. So that's really, really good. What else? Shit everywhere. Oh yep, the old hunting knife. Need one of them, that always comes in handy. That's full of shit. Red Arc Tow Pro Elite, which is really good. Factory locker, like I said before. What else? The iDrive, I don't know what they call themselves now. That is fantastic. That's full economy mode. So basically I've got it dulled right down. Just makes it really good when you're doing off-roading, so it's not bouncing around, that kind of stuff. That is fantastic. That is I can't remember the brand, Direction Plus, I think. It's a water monitor for your fuel. So if I pick up shitty fuel somewhere that's got water in it, that will light up, it'll buzz, it'll go crazy. Rear view camera, because obviously you can't see out the back window. LED internal lights, LED internal lights. This thing is and I can pop it out. This is a rescue tool. So a lot of people have died over the years doing river crossings, driving in floodwaters, that kind of shit. They go underwater, they can't get their seatbelt off, they can't get the windows down because everything fries. These smash windows, that cuts seatbelts, system works. I'm not dying in a river crossing. Plus I feel real manly having that kind of stuff in my car. The last piece of the puzzle is, what's the name of them? Power Vision. It is one of their panels, so it's solid state. All the relays, there are no relays, basically all the controls of it, it's just one box in the engine bay. Super nice and neat. One cable up in here. It's got my winch controls. That's going to be the air suspension. I just haven't wired it up yet. That is the isolator for the winch. Just makes me laugh. And then all of the driving light controls. It's really, really good setup, really nice and neat, because there is nowhere on these modern cars for you to put switches. All right, I made some pretty outlandish claims in the thumbnail that this is the most expensive Ranger in the country, and I stand by it. So there are a couple of other Rangers that are kind of up here, similar builds, but they're generally a lot smaller, so they don't have the stretch, they don't have the big wheels and tires, so the canopies are smaller, that kind of stuff. So generally they run a little bit cheaper. Stranger Ranger up in Queensland is phenomenal. If you haven't seen that, check them out on Instagram. Solid axle 37s stretched. It's about the same price as me, but Canopy is a little bit more than what the solid axle swap was. Different vehicles for different uses. I would rather their rig any day of the week for hardcore wheeling, and I'd rather mine any day of the week for camping. So with that in mind, I've done a little bit of maths here. So the truck itself, I call it a truck, you call it a ute. You can call it a spaceship. I don't give a shit. It's the size of an F-150. It's got a bigger diesel motor than an F-150. It makes more power. It's longer. It's wider. It's a bloody truck. It cost me 58 grand. Wheels and tires are about $4 grand for the full setup. They're about $500 each for the beadlock wheels. There's 5 of them, and about $1,500 for the tires. Driving lights was a big part. They are give or take $1,000 each, so about $4 grand. And that front bar, $2,800. Winch about $1,000. Suspension, I'm pretty ballpark here, about $3,000 in that, between the front and rear Enduro Pro setups, the Airbag Man setup, and the sway bar. It's probably $4 grand, to be honest. The Canopy as a complete unit, everything in it, the electrical, the rooftop tent, the fridges, the kitchen, the water tank, the hot water system, all that stuff was 35 grand, which is pretty on par for something like that. A lot of the electrical itself is about 8 grand. So generally, even, you know, if you see a mob selling canopies for 17 grand, by the time you spec them right up, that's the price you're looking at. It's about 15 grand under the bonnet, between the turbo setup, all the transmission stuff, the bottom end, all the billet. It adds up. Stretch itself was about 6 grand when it was done. I think he's a little bit more now, but it was about that. And I'm allowing 6 grand for odds and ends. So things like the UHF, the bash plates, the roof rack, the LED interior lighting, the iDrive, the scan tool thing, just all the little bits, and the snorkel, that kind of stuff. There's about 6 grand in there. Now, I haven't paid for any labor. A lot of the things I've done myself, or if they've been done at a shop, it's been done at Steve's shop, and Steve and I are good mates. So basically, when I say AECO's done the work, he and I have done it together. He's made sure I haven't do anything stupid, and then he's left me to my own devices. So there's no labor in that. I estimate realistically it'd have to be about 20 grand labor by the time you fit the canopy, all the engine work, that kind of stuff. All up, that leaves me a total of... No, I wouldn't do that to you. All up, that leaves me a total of 135 in parts, I want to say. Throw labor in there as well, you're looking at about 155. People have said, why don't you buy Dodge Ram, why don't you buy a 200 series, that kind of thing. That's the price of a stock Ram. Yes, a Ram 2500 and F250 would be really, really cool. They don't have kitchen sinks or tents or battery setups. They don't have storage in them. It's a tub. I could have gone and stretched a 200 series for about the same price. It would be similar spec in the interior, a lot less, a lot more basic on the tech front. More power, sure, cool, whatever. But again, empty truck. I don't see how you could build a vehicle of this level, of this user friendliness, I want to call it, for anything less. I think it's as simple as that. I've gone camping in $500 cars before. By no stretch of the imagination am I saying you need to spend this to go camping. You can spend a lot less. This is just what my car costs for my specific needs. Obviously, I travel a lot. I need to work a lot. If I go to the snow, four-wheel driving, it's work for me. I need to get up every morning, ready. I need to make breakfast in 4 minutes and hit the road again. So for a setup like that, this is what it costs. So anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed having a look around my truck. More importantly, I hope you guys are going to enjoy next week seeing it in action again in red dirt. So monthly episodes from here on out. Paul from Frontier Lines and I are going to be filming a bunch of additional content as well. So I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited too. I'll see you guys out there.